Okay, in this video, we're going to take a look at having a course or a membership, and maybe you only have it available for a certain period of time. A lot of people have a annual access rate on their courses. Maybe it's a membership. It doesn't have to be a year. It could be a 6 months or like a quarterly period amount of time. What happens when they buy on day one, right? And they come up for renewal. So a renewal happens over here, and at some point in time, we need to know whether or not they renewed or not. And inside of Thrive Apprentice, there are various mechanisms that we can use using Thrive Automator, but I want to specifically look at how we can use Fluent CRM as part of our email automation setup to track whether or not the user has renewed, and it's going to check access. And if they did not renew, it's going to automatically be able to remove them from Thrive Apprentice. So it's kind of a cool way to use Fluent CRM to track whether or not someone is still supposed to have access to your course or your membership, and then remove them if not. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to walk you through the process of setting up this automation, both inside of Fluent CRM and then connecting it with Thrive Automator to Thrive Apprentice. The first thing we need to do is go into Fluent CRM and let's create an automation. And this automation is going to basically be our in the background process that runs and is always checking to see if the person who, after they purchased, is still a member or not. So we'll click inside of automations in Fluent CRM, click create a new automation, and you can do tags or lists. I like to play with tags. So I'll call this automation course renewal check. And it's going to be based on when a tag is applied. We'll click continue. And the tag that's going to fire this course renewal check from the very beginning is the tag that we add when they purchase the initial course. So they purchase the product, and whether that be through something like SureCart or ThriveCart or WooCommerce, we've applied this tag. Now, having been tagged by another automation, this is going to trigger our check. So we'll go ahead and click Save Settings. And there's our trigger. So our renewal check starts here. Now we need to add a wait condition because we don't want to check right away. We want to check in a year or 6 months. So let's say that our renewal check was a year, right? They get access for 365 days. So we'll just call this wait 1 year. Click Save Settings. So now as soon as they buy the course and get tagged, we're going to wait a year. And now we need to create a conditional action. So I can hover over this plus and click Conditional Action. And we're going to give this a label, and we want to phrase this in such a way that it makes sense. It's easy to get confused on conditional logic like this because of double negatives, right? Did they renew? And if you add a negative and you go to no, and it's confusing. Let me just put it that way. Hopefully you'll see it in a second. So we want to phrase this in a way that makes sense. So we'll just ask the question, are they expired? It sounds morbid. Are they expired? And we're going to do this by specifying a matching condition. Now, we can do this two ways. So depending on your setup, I have the question, and reason I'm making this video was a Convology Pro member asked me, hey, I've got a course and I want them to have access to it for 1 year. And when that expires, I want to let them go and buy it again, but at a discount to take it again. So in that case, there's two checkout forms, right? The first one and the renewal. The renewal is at a discount, and the renewal form applies a tag renewed. So if they don't ever manually go purchase it again, they never get the renewal tag. The other method is automatic renewal, in which case there's one form and they automatically get billed every year. In this case, there is no second form. There's just a condition that happens if they cancel, and that would be that they get a tag, expired member or something like that. I think the manual renewal is a little more niche, so we're going to go with the automatic renewal, but bear in mind, you would still work it generally the same. So for us, are they an expired member? We're going to see if we're going to try to make this true, right? So check for this tag to make this statement true. And that's how you can avoid getting confused. So the tag would be expired member. So it would be include expired member. So are they an expired member? Do they have the tag expired member? If yes, then we need to remove them. If no, if they don't have the expired member tag, then they're still active. We can let them stay in. So at the very, very end here, I'll just jump to the end and say we're going to end this funnel. If they expired, that means they didn't pay the renewal, maybe they canceled, their payment failed, whatever. So we're going to add an action. And this action is going to be to remove them from the Thrive Apprentice product. Now to do that, we can't do that with tags or lists. We need to send an outgoing webhook. It's super easy to use, and I can show you how to do that right here. So our label here, outgoing webhook, we'll just give it some information here. We'll say to Thrive Automator, remove from course. And this is just for our purposes to be able to kind of figure out what's going on. Now the data that we want to send here, post method is totally fine. We'll get the URL in a second. JSON's fine, but it's the request body section. We want to go to custom data. And here under our data, the data we want to send is the email. We basically just need to identify this user. So the key is just going to be email. And under data value, we just click the 3 dots and find contact email. And this is basically going to send the person's email. The rest of this is fine. You can scroll down, find save settings and click that. Okay, so we've got an outgoing webhook. We're not done yet though. We do need to get the URL so we can leave that up. Now I want to go to Thrive Automator. So go to Thrive Dashboard, Thrive Automator. I'll open that in a new tab. I recommend you do a new tab because it's easier because I can then click back into my webhook and I can come over to Automator and create an automation. And we'll call this remove from course membership. Now, if we're sending an outgoing webhook, we have to have an incoming webhook where it's going to go. Choosing incoming webhook, we automatically get this webhook URL. We can click the copy button, jump back over to our Fluent CRM automation and paste in our remote URL. Perfect. Now come back into Thrive Automator and we need to match the incoming data. So the key here is going to be the same key that we put here under data key. And we're going to put in email, right? Because this is going to match the data that was sent over. And our value needs to be dynamic mapping email. And then you can click done. So what's going to happen is Fluent CRM is going to send an email through the webhook URL and Thrive Automator is going to say, perfect, I received it. I understand what this is. It's an email address. But now it's asking, well, what do I do with this email address? So we need to add another action and it needs to be a WordPress action and we need to match that email with a user. So we choose find or create user. We actually don't need to do anything else. All we have to do is click done because this has identified the user based on their email address. So now Thrive Automator knows who we're dealing with. And now it's saying, okay, I got the email. I know who it belongs to. Now what? So we need to add another action. And this is a Thrive Apprentice action this time. And we're going to remove access from a product and then search for our product. I just have one on my demo site, my also membership, and I'll click done. So that's it here for our automation. I can click active and save and finish. Now back inside of Fluent CRM, I'm good here. I can save my settings, close that up. And essentially this is good to go. This version actually works pretty good, but can you see what the problem might be with it? It works for only the first year, right? So they get added to the tag because they bought the product. We wait a year, we do a check. If they expired, yes, remove them from the course. Okay, we're done. In a way, this actually works better for the manual version that I was talking about before, where the user buys the product. They're only supposed to have access to it for a year, but they can buy it again. Let's adapt this automation here to work with a recurring subscription instead. So instead of having this conditional section that asks the question if they're expired, let's go ahead and add a goal. So I'll add another action goal, go to goals, and we'll do tag applied. And you can see that this will run when the selected tags have been applied to the contact. So the tag applied, we'll just give this a label here and we'll say, you know, the member canceled or the student canceled. They're basically indicating that they're no longer in it. And our tag will still be expired member. Now this is an essential point, right? So they have to reach this goal on this particular one. And we don't want our contacts to enter directly into this part of the sequence. We still want them to wait the year because if somebody renews and then cancels immediately, we want to be able to have them still stay within the program for however long we set it to wait. So we'll go ahead and click Save Settings. And now we have this goal that essentially is always checking after a year has passed. So after this, we don't really need this check anymore. Are they expired? Instead, we just need this webhook right here to be underneath our check. So we can get rid of all this actually. Unfortunately, there's no way to keep this. So we're going to delete this section here and click yes, which means we do need to go back in and we need to add our outgoing webhook. And we just rebuild that the same way. We just put our URL to our webhook that we got from Thrive Automator, and then we put our key as email, our data value as contact email, and then go ahead and click Save Settings. Now, after the user is removed from the product, they're no longer an active user anymore, right? They no longer should have this tag. So you need to make sure that this is a tag that you consider if they're active in the course and they're an owner of this course and active, they have this tag. So I would say after this outgoing webhook, let's add another one here to remove the tag and remove the tag for the course that they're in and click Save Settings. So now look what happens. Let's walk through this together. They bought the course, they're tagged as an active user. Wait a year, because that's how long their membership in the course is good for. After that time passes, if they canceled at any time that we detect it, after that year, after that time, we now see, did the member cancel? And they're only going to be proceeding past this point if they did. We send a webhook to Thrive Automator to remove them from the course inside of Thrive Apprentice, and we remove them from the active tag for the course they were in. Now, what's really nice is that anytime they get this tag re-added up here, this whole process starts again. They wait till it's over, and then we check to see if they at any point had this tag applied. If they did, we proceed. Now, inside of this, we do need to check this box right here under conditions to restart the automation multiple times for the contact in this event. So if they get re-added to it, we want them to be able to run through it again. So we'll click Save on that as well. And now we have a constant check. They get added to it and they're active. Wait for the term. If they expired, remove them, remove the active tag, end of funnel. And from here, if you'd like, you could add another tag such as, expired member for this course. And that way you could do some remarketing automations to them to try to bring them back and get them to renew, at which point the automation would start back up at the top and proceed back down. And that's everything you need in order for this Fluent CRM automation to monitor the status of your members, whether it be for one-time course purchases that need to be renewed or for ongoing memberships. And this works across a variety of tools. Really, all you need here is a system to ultimately at the top tag when somebody has made a purchase and you're good to go. Again, this could work with something like ThriveCart, SureCart, anything. Even a form like Fluent CRM and a direct Stripe integration. The goal here is just to be able to tag the user when they purchase and when they cancel. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And of course, this is the type of stuff we're doing inside of the Convology community every day. So feel free to check that out and see if that's something that would interest you.